be alone between city lights. We don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
What's up, you guys? Welcome to the live stream. Is it me, or does the God cam kind of look a little fuzzy? A little fuzzy to you? Looks a little fuzzy to me. It doesn't really matter. I'm not going to mess with it. But for those of you who are listening to the podcast version of this, you have no idea what I'm talking about. What are you going to do? I can't believe we got through the whole song. I can't believe we got through the whole song and not one person. Oh, yeah, it's super. Like there's something on the lens. I can't believe we got through the whole song and not one person has mentioned. Huh? Chat? Anything? You see anything different, chat? You see anything different? Nobody? Nobody's noticed? New desk. I have a new desk. You think if it's fuzzy because light's getting into the lens? Let's find out if that's true. Oh, yeah, I don't know about that. Hang on. Is it still fuzzy? No. No. Wow. Okay, there you go. Oh, I have a new desk. Yeah, that desk. We're going to leave the God cam up for a little while just to appreciate the new desk. Again, podcast viewers, sorry, you just... that desk that I have been using was... I got that desk from a coworker of my father's. He was getting rid of it, and my father took it and gave it to me when I was maybe 10 or 12 years old. So that desk, pardon me, so rude, burping on stream. Oh, man. That desk was probably, I mean, I had that desk for at least 30 years. And obviously it wasn't new so that was probably a 40-year-old desk, and it finally just gave up the ghost and was about to fall over. So I got this desk. And here's what happened. There's no L. There's no L. I've had an L desk for so long. No, it's the same chair. It's the same chair. It's going to make squeaks and fart noises. It's going to happen. I can now, with this chair, I have the flexibility to fart on stream as much as I want. It's a perfect cover. The no L. I've had the L desk forever. And it's very different to not have the L desk. But I actually purchased the L. There's an L extension to this. Unbeknownst to me, beknownst to me, but it was like 48 inches. It was a 4-foot, and the other one was only 42 inches, I think. And that extra 6 inches meant I had it was too much. So I think I'm going to try it without the L. I kind of like, the L is just a place to leave shit. Like I need another surface. Look. This was everything that was on my desk, by the way. That table it's a disaster. Don't look at it. I think I'm going to try it without the L. The rug is new. Try to add a little color to the room. I'm going to be doing, you can't see it, but I'm also going to be doing my workbench over there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 4-foot extension, the L, and I'm going to turn it into a workbench back there. And so I'll have 2 matching workbenches. And yeah, but this is the cleanest you'll ever see my desk. I even did a lot of wire management. You can kind of see there's some wire. It's not perfect, but can't you mount the L in a row so you get a long ass desk? There's not enough room in the room for that. It wouldn't work. So, yeah. That's what we're going to do. I don't actually know if I need the L. I think I like the walking space. I think I like feeling a little less constrained. Anyway, let's do it. Let's do this live stream. Boom. How's it going? Get your desk-related questions in. The fake shipped from DJI boxes go back on the workbench. It's no problem. Big question from who was a question about the Cobra goggles? I missed it. Martin Kokuti, you can change the receiver module in the SkyZone Cobra X. There's a little pop-off cover, and you can put any Fat Shark module in there. It is actually, I think, the only box goggle that has a built-in receiver module. You guys should see the other room. All of the packaging from this desk is all over the other room, including many parts of the old desk. It's bad. It's bad. But yeah, it's bad. Cabinet with wheels that you can slide under the desk. I don't really like the rolling cabinets. I want my cabinet to be attached to the desk, I think. That's what I would say. Hang on. For those of you who are asking, which desk is it? It's this desk. It's this desk right here. Hello? Do the thing. Oh, screw you. I decided to go for something a little more industrial, so this one will also last 40 years. It's this desk right here. See, it's the same legs as the Global Industrial packing stations. It's not fancy. It will get the damn job done. I don't have this riser. It will get the damn job done, though. So, there you go. Anyway, here's what we got. What? No, I don't want to create a highlight. Cancel. Here's what we got going on, folks. This is my main stream, my main screen. We'll be taking your questions here in the chat. Here they go. Did you see the Neuralink monkey? Yes, goes boom. Elon Musk is mad. He is mad. Elon Musk keeps saying, I'm going to do this thing. And I say, that's not possible. You're insane. And then he, like, does it. And I'm like, shut up. So, yeah, the Neuralink monkey is insane. Bouquet Edwin, it's not a fancy desk. It's just going to last forever. I don't want to ever... Let me tell you. I literally spent all day yesterday tearing apart my computer, tearing apart all my stuff, then cleaning it, then building this desk, and then rerouting all the wires. I know it doesn't look like it. But I put so much work into routing these wires. It's a little bit sloppy here because my audio's, I had to rush my audio. It's not finished. I need a ground loop isolator for my audio, so instead I'm using this Toslink adapter as a ground loop isolator. So it's not quite, but it was so much work that I never want to buy another desk ever again. So yeah, so I bought this industrial desk, and now it's going to last forever. Anyway, welcome to the live stream, guys. Here's what we're going to be doing. I'll be taking your questions right here. I will also be paying attention to the messages from these beautiful people over here. This is my Discord server, and these are my patrons over in the Discord server, and they're going to be asking questions and chatting amongst themselves. And if you want to also make sure that I get your message, because there's so many messages going by right now, so many messages, you can hit the $sign right down here and leave a super chat. And let's see if there have been any. Have there been any super chats yet? There have been super chats. I will be getting to these before too long. Sean Powell, thank you for a $10 super chat. And Paul McDonald, thank you for a $5 super chat. Thank you guys for your support. See, that's how it works, guys. Before we get into any other stuff, on the couple things. There will not be a live stream next weekend because there's a race at Freedom Hills Campground. Freedom Hills Campground. I keep saying Knoxville Multi-GP Racing. The guys who are organizing this race have done an insane job. Vanover is confirmed. He's flying in. Bubby is flying in. Cricket is like 80%. He's apparently his daughter's birthday is the day before, so he may fly in like that morning and rush out. So Cricket is like supposed to be coming. A whole bunch of other people, a whole bunch of other notable pilots. Evan Turner's going to be there, and Vanover's going to be there, and I always feel bad. Like I don't want to like be like using that potential head-to-head competition to promote an event, because I don't want them to be like, oh my god, I can't go to events with this guy. People are just going to make a big deal out of it. But they're racers. I'm sure they're used to it. Anytime Vanover and Evan Turner are in the same freaking event, you definitely want to be there to witness that. So that you can still join up. You can still come out even if you're not racing. Freedom Hills Campground, Saturday the 17th. Knoxville Multi-GP Racing page has details, and the Freedom Hills Campground has details. So that's where I'll be next weekend, and there will not be a live stream Sunday or Monday next weekend. Okay, so just letting you know. Last weekend, I said I made a joke about Crumbopulous Michael from Rick and Morty, who says, oh, there I go killing again. He's an assassin. And I said somebody should make a graphic of me as Crumbopulous Michael saying, there I go shilling again. Because some people like to make jokes about me shilling. And so I want to share with you this. I actually haven't I haven't heard this animation. I just saw it in the Discord, and I want to share it with you. Let me unmute the desktop here, and we'll go over here. I'm really looking forward to experiencing this. Oh boy, here I go shilling again. Okay. Thank you so much for making that. That was amazing. I hope my stream doesn't get copyright struck for that. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's it. That's it. Copy strike. I'm doomed. But there you go. Let's do some questions. We need questions. Okay, here we go. JG Denver, thank you for a $10 super chat. Can you help clarify if a 4-in-1 ESC is 60 amps per ESC or 60 across the four? It's per channel. The rating for a 4-in-1 ESC is per channel, so it's 60 amps times 4. Be aware that 4-in-1 ESC ratings are sometimes ambitious and not really based in reality, but it is nominally per output. Mr. Tim Pottle, thank you for a £10 super chat. I'm making a long-range 4-inch sub-250 2S lithium-ion quad. The voltage can go down to 6 volts. Are there any all-in-ones to handle the voltage? iFlight Beast can't. 20mm stack's the only option. Yeah, Mr. Tim Pottle, most flight controllers that run off of VBAT are designed to go down to 2S voltage, but 2S LiPo voltage, so they may not be happy at 6 volts. They usually require 6.5 or 7 volts. I don't know about that. I mean, the ESC doesn't care. The ESC will just keep running down to 0. You might, like, what's a good iFlight 20mm flight controller? Let's just, like, look some up. Here's an iFlight Success E stack 20mm. Let's look at the voltage rating. Input voltage 2 to 6S. Yeah, see. So I mean, the limit on the input voltage is the 5-volt step down regulator, I believe. And so you may be fine at 6 volts. The 5-volt regulator may not brown out at 6 volts. Are you sure that you can't run down to 6 volts on a typical regulator? I think this desk is a different height. Okay. If you need to, you could just use a voltage regulator, just an external voltage regulator. You wouldn't use a step up. If he uses a step up, what would happen if the input voltage is higher than the output? Would it just pass through? You could use like a 7-volt step-up regulator, but then if the input is higher, will it fry? I think you might need a boost buck regulator, which goes both directions and will take an input, between, let's say, 3 and 30 volts and output 7 volts. I don't think you need to do that, though. I would bet that most flight controllers that say they're rated for 2S will be okay down to 6 volts. That's what I would bet. Nico Hayes says, what's with the iFlight Beast having 25 millimeter holes? Nico, that is the 25 millimeter sizing is for toothpick. Style frames. Here's an example. Let's find a good example of one. Where's the Toothpick 3. So this is the Toothpick 3 by Kebab. It was originally designed to take a Tiny Whoop flight controller and convert it to use with this style of frame and larger props. The Tiny Whoop flight controllers had 25 millimeter diagonal mounting. And so all these toothpick style flight controllers have that same mounting size. None of your frames have mounting because they're just not designed for that. So don't buy that flight controller unless you have a frame that's designed for a 25 millimeter mount, or I suppose you could like make some kind of an adapter, but probably not. Don't want to do that. Coelho FPV wants to know, thank you for $5 in the super chat. Do APD ESCs need calibration when using D-Shot? You never need to calibrate when using D-Shot. Calibration is a thing that happens with analog protocols. With digital protocols, calibration is not needed. So the answer to that is no. That's one of the advantages of D-Shot, is that you don't need calibration. Roman TR, thank you for 50 Mexican pesos. I need a new transmitter to fly with my dad. I'll give him my Taranis X9D Plus. Which one would you recommend, the Taranis or Radio Master? I would go with the Radio Master. If you only fly with FreeSky receivers, maybe the Taranis makes sense. The Radio Master, I think, is, unless you have access receivers, I think the Radio Master is going to be the one that will serve you best, because the multi-protocol modules can bind to both firmware 2.x and pre-2.x, whereas FreeSky can only do one at a time, depending on which version is flashed on there. I'm a fan of the Radio Master. It's not really a secret. Chris, thank you for 698 SGD. Do you recommend the T-Motor Tron 80? What's a Tron 80? I don't know if my microphone's picking that up, but one of my neighbors is out in his yard shooting a gun. So if you hear gunshots, that's just, somebody having a good time in his yard. No one's shooting at me. So, the Tron 80 digital. Oh, whoop! Is this the one with the? Hang on, let me make sure. Is this the one with the frickin' motor shaft? No, I do not recommend this. I do not recommend. Look what they did with what T-Motor. What were you thinking? What were you thinking, T-Motor? Look what they did with the frickin' props. Look what they did. The prop does not push all the way down against the motor bell. That has terrible vibration issues. Thank you to Albert Kim. I'm repeating Albert Kim's information. I haven't flown this, but Albert Kim flew this and had tons of problems with vibration and jello. And he said, yeah, I think it's this way that they've mounted the prop. They've extended the prop further from the motor, which means that any vibration is amplified because you have this longer lever arm. This is the stupidest thing. I'm not going to say it's the stupidest thing I've ever seen, but I cannot understand what T-Motor was thinking in making this decision. Any imbalance in the prop is going to be amplified the longer this shaft is. You should never do this. Don't buy this. Don't buy this. Don't buy this. Punish them for making this terrible decision. And for the record, Albert Kim said, guys, this is a problem. And as far as I can tell, they're still trying to sell this fatally flawed product. Nothing, whatever else about this product you like, do not buy it because of this stupid decision that was made with the motors. Why would you do this? Why? Who was drunk enough to think that this was a good idea? And then when Albert Kim comes to you and says, guys, this is not a good idea. I mean, Albert's a smart guy, but a frickin', anybody could have told you this was a bad idea. Why did you not know this was a bad idea? So now it has problems with vibrations. Because the frickin', I mean, maybe if they hadn't done, oh, and also, good luck getting spare motors. You want spare motors for it? Yeah. There are no other spares except these exact motors. Because these stupid shafts. What? I'm just astounded. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? What were you thinking? There is no benefit to this. It's not even like this is a trade-off where, well, you know, you get better, I don't know, efficiency. There's no positive, only negatives. It just seems like you designed the frame wrong and then you had to come up with a way to fit the props in and you made a new motor with a longer shaft. Just push the prop on all the way? I don't know why you wouldn't do that. But I just don't know. I mean, surely, like I said, I haven't had this quad, but Albert Kim, if you could just push the prop on the rest of the way, then presumably Albert Kim would have done that and been like, oh, here's the difference. So Albert Kim has flown this. I don't know if he's released a review. He posted about it on Facebook and was like, this is a problem. And I'm like, yeah, you think? So, I don't know what they were going for, but this is bad. Thank you for the opportunity to rant about how bad this is. And the thing is, T-Motor knows how to make a damn quadcopter. I just can't understand how T-Motor let this get out the door. T-Motor, you're brilliant. You make amazing ESCs. You make amazing motors. You make a pretty decent bind and fly. How did this get out the door? Anyway, let's move on. I do not recommend. In fact, I anti-recommend it. I recommend that you get anything else. The new Beta FPV 95X with the 1404 motors is looking pretty nice. It's looking pretty nice. The Beta 95 had some problems with vibration and didn't fly quite as well as some might have hoped, but the new one with the 1404 motors is looking pretty good. So it's worth a look. Okay. Do I have a list of upgrades I did to the Sovol SV01, and is it still my go-to 3D printer? Asks Koen van den Elsen. So I did, the only upgrades I did was the BL Touch and the Silent Mainboard. I actually really haven't upgraded it at all. I'm pretty much running it stock. I even have the stock build plate, the stock build surface, print surface. So that's basically it. Yeah, it's still my go-to 3D printer. It's still my go-to. Albert Kim has released a video about the 95X with the 1404 motors. Good. Do I use Real Steady and Hypersmooth? Asks Brendan D. Brendan, most of the time on my freestyle flights, I don't use any stabilization. I just prefer to, let you guys see the raw flight. I think whether you use Hypersmooth or Real Steady depends on your goal with the flight. If you're trying to make a flight for a commercial where the audience wants to see smooth flying, then Real Steady and Hypersmooth are what you want. If you're trying to make something artistic, then you may want Real Steady and Hypersmooth. But if what you want to do is show off, it'd be like if you're trying to make an album and you want to release a song that people want to listen to, then use Autotune, right? Use Autotune. But if you're in a singing competition where the goal is to show off your skill, then don't use Autotune. Duh, right? So when I do freestyle, most of the time my goal is not to make myself look good, or to obviously, right? Or to produce the smoothest, most professional result. My goal is to sort of show what I'm doing with the quadcopter, and hopefully some of it is good enough to impress you and make you want to keep watching. And for that reason, I don't use any stabilization. There are pilots who regularly use Hypersmooth, and their goal is different than mine. It's not right or wrong, and I don't call it cheating. It's just a different goal. Like Drew usually uses, I think he usually uses Hypersmooth on his camera, on his GoPro, and I think Bubby does too. Just his footage has that look as if he's using hypersmooth, but I don't know for a fact. And Drew's footage is amazing. And if you were to see one of Drew's flights with no hypersmooth on it, you would be just as impressed. But it wouldn't look quite as smooth. Just depends on what you're going for. Abraham thinks pusher style builds are pure hype. While everyone else is trying to get weight closer to the prop line, pusher frames do the exact opposite. That's, I'm not sure, Aber. I have heard people whose opinion I trust say that having the air column, the thrust column obstructed from above is better. Because what happens is if you've got a prop and it's pushing down, it pulls air in from a large negative pressure area. And then when the air comes out, whoosh, it's in a very concentrated high pressure area. So if you've got an obstruction below the prop, it's got more pressure on it and it's disrupting that outbound airflow. Whereas if you've got an obstruction above the prop, it is disrupting less of the incoming air percentage-wise. That's the argument that people have made. It makes sense to me, but that doesn't mean it's right. But it does kind of make sense. And I think that's the goal with pusher style, is to get the obstructions out from underneath the prop and presumably increase efficiency. But I don't know if that's how much difference does it make, and does it really matter? I don't know. I think you could be right that there's some hype to it. The very first pushers were like really, really small quads. People were converting like 65 and 75 millimeter quads to pusher style and saying it made a big difference. But I don't know. Hello, Elevision Video. Greetings from Italy. Arthium Plastinkin has a very interesting question in the YouTube chat. After a dead lipo crash, my drone throttle can only be increased by the stick and not decreased, but in the beta flight, the RC channel responds correctly. So I think what you're saying is that you arm the quad, you raise the throttle, the motors spool up, and then when you lower the throttle, they don't spool down. That's normal. Maybe you hadn't observed it before, but it's not abnormal. Does it happen when your props are on and when you try to fly? That's the big question. If it does happen when your props are on and you're flying, then I would guess that your gyro is broken on your flight controller. And when you raise the throttle, it just gets overwhelmed with noise and freaks out. Would a duct help with the negative airflow into the props of a pusher arrangement? Asks Drone Racer. Drone Racer, ducts do increase the efficiency. I don't know if how they relate to a pusher versus a puller design. Ducts increase the efficiency by reducing the tip vortex effect. At the end of a prop or a wing, which a prop is really just a wing that spins around in a circle, the air spilling off the low pressure or the high pressure area under the prop creates this tip vortex. And all of that air, basically a way to think about a wing or prop working is via conservation of momentum. That by pushing air downwards, you create upwards thrust, because conservation of momentum means when you push stuff down, it pushes back on you. I know that conservation people are going to talk about the Coanda effect and the frickin' fast moving air. Damn it. Ah, frickin', I can't believe it. Fail. Giant fail. Hang on. What's the name of the principle where fast moving air has less? Okay, come on, guys. You can tell me before I look it up. Anyway, we'll get it. No, not Venturi, not Magnus. God darn it. I'm just blanking because I'm on a live stream. Bernoulli, thank you. Bernoulli. Thank you. Anyway, I know that conservation of momentum is not the complete explanation of how a wing produces lift, but conservation of momentum is one way to analyze the effect of a wing. And so when you've got a wing or a prop with air spilling off the end, that air is not moving downward. And therefore you're losing lift. So if you take and think about a wing and you just put like a wall right there, the duct basically acts like a wall, and it prevents that air from being able to spill off the wing and go upward, and forces it to go downward, and that increases the efficiency. How that would interact with pusher versus puller configuration, I don't really know. Bernoulli. I can't believe I blanked on Bernoulli. People have in the past objected to me discussing a wing and airfoil from the perspective of conservation of momentum. And the thing is, conservation of momentum is a physical law, right? So, like, it is at play, always, everywhere. And they say a wing doesn't generate lift by pushing air downwards. Well, you know, they say it has a low pressure and a high pressure area and yada. And it's like, yeah, but the high pressure area below the wing means that air is pushed downwards. And therefore, via conservation of momentum, force is generated upwards. So I know that you can't just say conservation of momentum. It's not just that the wing pushes air downward that causes it to go up. That would just be like a fan blade effect. It's also Bernoulli and Coanda and other things, but it is also conservation of momentum is a way to think about how a wing is producing thrust. The more air that the wing is pushing down, the more thrust it will produce up, whatever the mechanism for pushing the air downwards is. That's my opinion. So why don't our props have winglets? Asks 507RC. Some props have had winglets. Didn't the Emax Avon used to have winglets? The 5-inch. The original Emax Avon had winglets, I think. I don't think they do anymore. Now they've got this Scimitar prop, which doesn't have the winglets. But I think the original, yeah, here we go. Here's the Avon R. Check it out. Boom, winglets. There you go. The real answer, I think, 507RC is, number one, the complexity of the mold. Although I'm not an expert on injection molding, so maybe someone would say, nah, it doesn't really matter. But the other answer to me is durability. And also, they cut the shit out of your hands. I really didn't like putting on these Emax Avon props because the winglets would cut your hand. And the winglets are really thin and really fragile. So the first time you like hit something, they got scraped off and then your prop was out of balance. So. Benny Aguirre. Let me make sure. Wait, Benny, I didn't make sure I didn't miss any super chats. I don't think I did. Benny Aguirre. Aguirre? Thank you for a $10 super chat. Benny, did you mean to leave a message? Unfortunately, your message didn't get attached. Terry, I'll try and keep an eye out for you in the chat, Benny, or you can always just email me, of course. Terry Hedrick, thank you for a $5 super chat. Can you use the DJI FPV controller V2 by itself with their flight sim without goggles? I don't know the answer to that, Terry. The DJI FPV simulator only runs on iOS. It doesn't run on Android. And I don't have an iOS device, so I have never tried it. I don't know if you can use it by itself without the goggles. And as if anybody in the chat knows, please jump in. Can you change rates in a DJI app since you can't in the sim? You can change rates in the actual DJI FPV quad. Yes, sir. In fact, I'm working on a video about this. People have wondered whether DJI FPV quad, whether what the rates algorithm is. I can confirm. This is the big scoop. I don't know if anybody has told you this before or said this before me. It is the Betaflight actual rates algorithm. DJI confirmed for me that the DJI rate algorithm is the Betaflight actual rates algorithm. So if you're wondering about that, now you know. Has anybody released that info before, or is that a scoop for me? Blunty, are you saying that there's now a music editor for BLHeli S if you're running BlueJay? Blunty, is that right? I'm typing that question in. Is it even worth it to build your own quads anymore? Thank you for a $10 super chat. Connor Stevens. It seems more expensive nowadays to build your quad rather than just buying a ready to fly. Very interesting question, Connor. Yeah, when I reviewed the iFlight Sedora SL5E, I compared it to the Mr. Steel Apex. The parts for the Mr. Steel Apex cost about $600 at retail. And granted, they're ultra premium parts, and maybe they're worth it, maybe they're not. But then if you want them to build you a ready to fly, they charge you more money on top of that, which is what you'd expect. It's typical to see somebody paying about $50 to have somebody else build a full quad. That's, I think, in the USA. I think you can get it done cheaper outside the country. And when I looked up the price for the parts of the Sedora SL5E, it was $25 cheaper to buy the bind and fly than to buy the parts individually and build it yourself. I don't know how they pulled that off, but there you go. So I think that it is worth it to build your own quads. Number one, some people just like to build. Number two, you can pick the exact parts that you like. If you have a preference, you get exactly what you want. And number three, if you never build, then you won't be able to repair. And that's a big deal. But, like, I've told this story before on the stream. I had a training opportunity. I was going to go train some people. They wanted to learn how to fly. They were going to come most of them already knew how to fly a little bit, but they were going to hire me to come out and teach them. And I a week before I was leaving on the trip, I looked at all my quads and all my quads were broken. I was like, oh, F, what am I going to do? And then I just went and I bought 3 iFlight Sedoras. And I put my tune on them. And, I tweaked a couple things about the way they were built, like the antenna mounting. I tweaked them a little, but I just bought 3 of them and I took them out, and those were my quads for the week, and they were fine. So, yeah, I don't blame you. As soon as they crash and break, you're going to wish you had built them yourself because you won't know how to repair them. But bind and flies are stupid good. I remember, pull up around the old Barca Lounger, kids. Grandpa's going to tell a story. Way back when I was young, in 2015, you couldn't buy bind and fly quadcopters. Oh no, if you wanted a quadcopter, you had to build it yourself. Or some of us would even break apart Nintendo Wii nunchucks, pull the IMU chips out. Oh, we didn't have to do that anymore in 2015, though. No, you could buy flight controllers, but you couldn't buy bind and fly quads that were worth a damn. Oh, I know the Yishin Wizards. Yeah, you could buy a Wizard, but it was a piece of junk. Nobody wanted that. Oh, and I remember when the Impulse RC Vortex came out. Oh, the Impulse RC Vortex. Well, that was the first bind and fly quadcopter that I thought was actually worth a damn. Yes, sir. I remember that day, and I thought, what a world we live in, when you could buy a bind and fly racing drone that actually flies well and might be as good as something you would build yourself. And now you kids, you just buy whatever you want. Oh, yes. Thanks, Grandpa. Thanks for telling that story, Grandpa. That's not an Irish accent, Patriot RC. That's more of a northeastern, I feel like that, in my mind, that was more like a Maine, like a northeastern Maine accent. I don't think it was Irish. I apologize, Irish people, if I was doing a offensive parody of your accent. I didn't mean to. I don't apologize to people from Maine, though. You got a problem with it? You got a problem with it? I think the Wizard came out after the Vortex, to be fair. I can't remember. Did I say Impulse RC? I'm sorry, Immersion RC. I apologize. The Vortex, the Immersion RC Vortex. Tony Cake's crying right now. I can't remember. There were a couple Binding Flies before the Vortex that I thought were garbage. I think the Wizard came after the Vortex. Grandpa, get it together. Impulse RC, Immersion RC. I can't keep them straight anymore. Give me my White Claw. Oh, the White Claw is far from empty. People in my stream, in my Discord server, pretend that they're betting on when the White Claw will be empty. It made it all the way to the end of the stream last time. Mark O'Hara says, leave us Irish out of it. Okay. I'm wondering what's the best layout for patch antenna and stubby antenna on DJI Goggles V2. The patch antenna, when looking at the goggle head on, goes on the upper left and lower right connectors. That's the best for the DJI Goggles V2. Upper left and lower right when looking at the goggle. So my upper left and lower right, it's from, for you guys, it would be this one and this one. Anyway. Ja Leon in the Discord wants to know Newbie Drone Flow motors versus Emax Eco. Which do you suggest? Both are excellent motors at a suspiciously low price. I have flown the Newbie Drone Flow. I bought a set of the eight Newbie Drone Flow for $100, and I have to say, I've been through a few of them, and I don't go super hard most of the time, like bando bashing. So I don't break motors a lot, but I have busted up some of these flows. And my guess, they're good motors. They're fine motors, especially for the price. It's $20, but they usually are running a special where if you buy 8 motors, you get 8 for $100, which brings them down to like $12. My theory is that this sharp edge here is a little more prone to damage than a rounded edge. Whereas if you look at the Emax Eco 2, it's just a theory. I don't, like, it's, where's the Emax Eco 2? 2306. Whereas on the Eco 2, oh no, I don't want to get the latest news. Website designers, stop doing that. Whereas on the Eco 2, we've got this rounded edge. And I always feel like motors with a rounded edge are more durable. It's also a slightly rounded bell. So I would take the Eco 2. They're both good, but I would just give a slight edge to the Eco 2. It's a little unfair of me to say that because I literally have never flown the Eco 2. But just based on my experience with the Newbie Drone Flow and looking at the Eco 2's design, my gut feeling is that the Eco 2 is going to be more durable. Aber the Ham says he's been going through the flows and the Eco 2s at about the same rate. So Aber has flown both and says it's about 50-50. So you should probably listen to him. Newbie Drone's a great company and certainly deserves your support. How do you know if you kill a motor? I mean, Matthew Roach, that's a tough one. Obviously, if it don't spin, then it probably broken. If you look at the windings and you can see the windings are discolored, it's probably done. If you sniff the motor and it's got that burnt electronic smell, it's probably done. And if it's like bound up, it's probably done. But the place where it gets weird is when you don't know for sure. Like the quad is desyncing and falling out of the sky when you punch the throttle. So like it'll hover, but then as soon as you jam the throttle, it goes. At that point, it's kind of 50-50 whether it's the motor or the ESC. So what do? You replace the motor. Then you see if it fixes the problem. Did it fix the problem? Yay! If not, then it's probably the ESC, and you replace the ESC. Sadness. I had this happen to me recently. I had a ESC on one of my quads die. I hit a racing gate. The quad went and I flew it back home, and it would hover and it would cruise, but as soon as I hit the throttle, it dropped out. And it was a 20 millimeter ESC, and the motor had no visible sign of damage. It didn't feel hurt at all, and the hit wasn't. I just didn't think the hit was hard enough to have damaged the motor, and I could smell electronic burning smell. At that case, I immediately just replaced the ESC. Like, I just didn't think it was the motor. But a lot of times, you just don't have a strong hunch as to whether it's the motor or the ESC, at which point you replace the motor. Don't throw it away. Maybe it's fine. You replace the motor. If it still falls out, you replace the ESC. You can also, bean time, good tip, bean time. You can swap the motors and see if it falls the other way. So personally, I like to just put a spare motor on if you have a spare motor, because then you only have to resolder one motor instead of two. If you don't have a spare motor, or you just want to be more scientific about it, swap the two motors, left to right or front to back. And if the quad is always falling to the front left, and then you swap the motor and now it's falling to the front right, you know it's the motor. That's a very good tip. Jeff Schubert says, oddball size proprietary Emacs. What does that mean? Oh, the Tiny Hawk motors. Yes, no. Tiny Hawk Freestyle, you're basically stuck with Emacs motors. Whoops. Because they use a weird size. Is Rapid Fire the preferred goggle module for long range? Asks Shinobi FPV. Shinobi, I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it. I feel bad for Immersion RC, but TBS Fusion has had equal performance to the Rapid Fire, in my opinion, in my testing and in my experience, but it's less expensive. It's like $110 versus like $140, $150. Go look up the actual prices. It's cheaper though, by approximately $30 or $40. But the Fusion, in my opinion, has had a really sort of clunky interface. But they just revamped the interface on the Fusion, and it's really good. And I think most people would go with the Fusion today. Rapid Fire has some advantages. If you have Orca goggles, the Rapid Fire can interface with the Orca goggles directly in a way that Fusion can't. But just for a typical person with a set of analog goggles looking for a module, I feel like Fusion is a better value today. It's equal performance and lower in price. Sean Hussein is asking a question about the Happy Model Express LRS module. Is it worth picking up or wait for the competition? That module, Wesley Vardy looked at that module and thought it was pretty good build quality and did a range test on it and got good range results. Here's the thing with Happy Model, though. The first batch is going to be great. Maybe the second batch will be great. But one day, they're going to have a bum batch. And I know that happens to everybody, but if you've flown a Mobula 6, then you know that Happy Model is... I feel like if you had a little hesitation about trusting your control link to Happy Model, that would be valid. I would say it's worth a punt. I think that probably FreeSky R9 hardware is going to be more consistently good quality than something coming off the Happy Model line. They did a good job with his first batch, though, according to Wesley, but he only tested one. Happy Model's problem has always been consistency. That's the real challenge. Free Sky, I think, has more consistency. So it's not that hard anymore to flash Express LRS. So you may as well go for it. That's what I would say. I would probably take a Free Sky R9 module today. But if you don't want to flash it, or if you just want to support the Happy Model, go for it. Aber the Ham is saying the DJI flight simulator does need the goggles. That's how the transmitter connects to the phone. Yep. You do need the goggles to use the DJI sim. Daniel. We got a lot of super chats coming in. Wow. Okay. I got to catch up on super chats. Let's do it. Oh, we're like an hour into the stream. I always try and get some regular non-super chat questions, but we're like an hour into the stream, so I think we're good. Boy, that White Claw sure makes the stream fly by. Connor Stevens, we got you. Daniel Carroll, thanks for a $5 super chat. DJI Air Unit 2.0, is it a complete fiction or an NDA keeping it a secret? If an NDA, when does it expire? If I was under an NDA, I couldn't tell you anything, not even when it expires. DJI Air Unit 2.0, I don't think it's a fiction. DJI has said that they are going to stop making the Air Unit and that they will hand off manufacturing of the Air Unit to a third-party manufacturer. Everyone pretty much assumes that's going to be Cadex because Cadex already makes the Vista. So why it just seems like that's logical. So I think it would make. Why would they just keep making the Air Unit V1? Would they? Seems like that would be the great opportunity to go to the V2. But that's not confirmed. There's nothing confirmed, and there's nothing. I mean, everybody would guess that the Air Unit 2.0 would be compatible with the DJI controller and would support OcuSync 3.0 like the DJI drone. That is a huge amount of speculation, and I wouldn't feel good about doing that. Blunty points out in the chat, don't buy. Blunty's advice is don't buy a 900 megahertz Express LRS module. Wait for 2.4 gigahertz Express LRS. Everybody who flies Express LRS seems to think that 2.4 gig is where you want to be. I wonder why that is. And Blunty, maybe you can weigh in. Like, the big disadvantage of 900 megahertz is the larger antennas and more interference if you have a bunch of pilots in the air. I guess 2.4 gigahertz Express LRS can also do 500 hertz updates, but that's, to me, doesn't seem like a huge thing. I mean, it's nice, but you're going from something like 4 milliseconds to something like 2 milliseconds. It's diminishing returns, to be sure. So why does everybody make such a big deal out of 2.4 gigahertz over 900 megahertz? I mean, not that 2.4 gig is nice, but 900 meg it's not like bad. Kaz FPV, thanks for a $2 super chat. Can you tell us the Target getting arrested story? I was the only time in my life I was. That's the comment I left on Botgrinder's video. I left a comment about this on Botgrinder's video. I wondered if it would come back to haunt me. The only time in my life I've ever been arrested. I was arrested. I was in a Target. Shopping, and police officer came up behind me and put a cuff on my wrist, just like that. So I was like, okay, what's going on? I had been camping that weekend, and as part of camping, I had a knife on my belt. It was not a folding knife. It was about 4 inches blade. And I just had it on my belt, and I had gone to Target, and I was still wearing it. And so this was in the city of Atlanta, and he thought that that knife was too long to be legal in the city of Atlanta. There's a maximum length, and he thought it was over it for like a fixed blade knife. So I got arrested. I was like, okay. Got sent to jail. My girlfriend had to come bail me out. And she had to go park next to the courthouse, next to the jail. There was no parking available next to the jail, so she had to park a couple blocks away from the jail. Interesting. It's very interesting. Jails are usually in like the more crime. I'm trying to find a way to say the worst part of town without implying that like people who live there are bad people. But it was a pretty sketchy area, is my point. So she's got like $1,800 in cash in her pocket for the bail. And now she has to walk 3 blocks through this like really, really sketchy area. Because you'd think like that's where all the police are, right? That's the jail. That's the, the police headquarters, whatever, the courthouse. There's tons of police there. Why is it that 1 block away from the police station, there's people out on the street just like doing illegal things? I mean, I'm not mad about it. I don't really care about, like, I just think it's odd. You would think that if there's a police station, then crime would be inversely related to the distance from, or to the proximity to the police station. The closer you are to the police station, the less crime. Didn't seem to be that way. Anyway. So she bailed me out. I got a lawyer. Lawyer got the charges dismissed. I don't really know how he did it. And, that's that. Anyway, yeah, it's pretty interesting. The knife was not concealed. Obviously, by the way, Target are real assholes, for the record. Ask any of your friends. You know how we all have that friend who shoplifts? You have that. If you don't know if you don't know, you have a friend who shoplifts. Ask them about which store they would be least likely to shoplift from, and chances are they'll say Target. Target are real assholes about loss prevention. Like, Walmart does not care if you steal from them. Like, literal. I mean, like, if they happen to catch you, then they might make a big deal out of it. But mostly, you could just walk out of a Walmart with whatever you want. Like, don't go back the next day. There's advice for stealing from Walmart from Bardwell. Hey. But Target are real assholes about loss prevention. Every store has a loss prevention officer who, like, walks around the store and, like, follows you if they think you're being suspicious. And so I'm not surprised that the one time in my life I got arrested, it was in a Target. Because I guarantee you that their loss prevention officer, frickin' Paul Blart, saw me with the knife and was like, oh, that person is dangerous. Just to be clear, I was just shopping. I was literally just shopping. But here's the real kicker about that story. At that time in my life, I was carrying a concealed firearm illegally. I had a permit. So the cop arrested me for having a knife. As he's taking me to the back to, whatever, lock me up, I was like, sir, I need to let you know I'm legally carrying a firearm. It's on my left hip. He was like, okay. Takes it out, unloads it, takes it off me, checks it into evidence. Like, I ended up getting it back. And I was like, the frickin' irony. Atlanta, the city of Atlanta, what is up? I can legally carry a firearm. That's fine. But this knife, oh, no, that's over the line. Very strange. IKLDE in the Discord says he hesitates to say the jail was in a bad part of town. but says Target are assholes for being serious about shoplifting. No, Target are assholes, period. The fact that they are like up your butt about loss prevention is a symptom of the fact that they're assholes. I hesitate to say it's a bad part of town because, like, people live there and they like living there and that's their home. It's not a place, you know, I don't feel comfortable there. It doesn't, I don't want to judge it that it's bad. It just is different. But Target are just assholes. Like, I don't begrudge Target not wanting to have things stolen from their store. But when, like, there's somebody, like, following you around, like, just be more discreet about it, Target. Mystery Smith bringing up the Claremont Lounge. Well, only people who live in Atlanta can appreciate the wonders of the Claremont Lounge. Trust me. If you ever go to Atlanta, especially if you're with your parents, Claremont Lounge is a great place to take your parents if you're ever in Atlanta. It's family friendly. Kids, don't bring your kids. Toxic FPV says, I was arrested in Target because they thought I shoplifted. I was searched in the store. I didn't have anything on me. I still went to jail and got charged because I hid an item in the shelves. Right. Target are just assholes. They're just assholes. All right. That's the story. Thank you for your super chat. And hope it was worth $2 to you. Aber the Ham says, the Claremont Lounge is a strip club, isn't it? Aber, calling it a strip club is really not doing it justice. The Claremont Lounge is the place where old strippers go to die. And it transcends strip clubs. It is, if it's 2 a.m. and you're ready to go home, but you just want to hang out for a little while, go to the Claremont Lounge. That is a great place to finish up your night. That's what I'm saying. It is not just a strip club. Trust me. You will see things in the Claremont Lounge. I'm not going to say that. Oh. Paul McDonald, thank you for a $10 super chat. Let's move on. I had the 5-volt regulator blow out on my trash can second flight. Do you know if they did any upgrade to that on V4 or the Crazy Bee Pro? I don't know if they did an upgrade to that. Travis Mathis wants to know an ETA on the JB Quad QAV-S frame. It has gone to production. It's about a month out. So roughly mid-May, let's say. But it's gone to production, so it's just a matter of time. J to the flip, thank you for 549 euros. What's your opinion about the FetTech motor 1303.6 and the fact that they're made in Israel? The FetTech 1303.6, I know, didn't Bob just upgrade his 1303 motor for heavier, like naked Vistapix? I don't have any opinion about the fact that they're made in Israel. Like, why would I have an opinion about that? I'm sure that you might have an opinion about where stuff is manufactured. Some people are glad when stuff is not manufactured in China. Some people probably object to the fact that it's manufactured in Israel because people have strong feelings about Israel. I'm just not even touching that. So. Jason Mendez, thanks for a $10 super chat. Thanks for answering my ESC question the other day. Do you think the HQ 89mm 8-blade props would cause the ESC to pop on the ProTech 35? Yeah. Yep. If you were running 8-blade props on ProTech 35 and you blew the ESC, I definitely think those things could be related. You had a GoPro 7 and a 1500 milliamp hour 4S on it. Yeah. That is a lot of weight, and those props are a lot of load. Generally, the more blades you have in a prop, the more you're going to load down the motor. So if you were doing that and the ESC blew, I think you could blame the prop. All right, now people are talking about their opinion of Israel in the chat. I feel like this is going to go in a bad direction really quick. So let's just stick to FPV or talks about strip clubs in Atlanta. Coelho FPV, thanks for a $10 super chat. What are the troubleshooting steps for a runaway on takeoff after the prop direction and software matching has been verified 4 times? There are basically 4 things that cause runaway on takeoff. Your board alignment, your flight controller alignment is wrong. You have a motor direction wrong. Your motor order is incorrect. So motor 1, 2, 3, 4 are not in the right position. Your prop is on wrong. You have a clockwise prop on a counterclockwise motor or vice versa. If so many times people swear they've checked those things, and then it turns out that they missed one. So even if you think you checked it, you can go back and double check. If the quad goes like and then disarms, that's absolutely one of those 4 things. The other thing that could cause a runaway on takeoff is if you've got a bad motor. Like the quad could start to take off and that arm just sags and doesn't lift off. So Coelho, the first thing I would ask is, does it kind of go and disarm? It pops up in the air, kind of rotates 90 degrees and falls back down. 100% of the time, that's one of those 4 things. Board alignment, motor direction, motor position, incorrect prop. Like 100% of the time. 99.9% of the time. If it just kind of goes like this, it kind of starts to lift off and one arm kind of sags, and then it kind of goes, maybe it flops over. That could be a bad motor. If it flips and disarms, so 2 things it can go. It can go whip, and it can pop up and rotate and disarm, or sometimes it goes and flips over and disarms. Those things are like 100% of the time one of those 4, board alignment, etc. Beantime wants to know if you can use EDF motors for a quad. No, because they don't change speed quickly enough. EDFs spool up and down slowly, and quads need fast response. I know how to pronounce Coelho because I hung out with Brazilian people for a while. You're not going to get me with those tricky H's. This guy's name is Coelho. Right? Coelho? No, sir. You're not going to get me with those tricky H's. Rob Mueller, thank you for a €5 super chat. Taking the DJI FPV quad apart is reasonably easy, but very interesting. Are you going to make any repair videos? Probably not. Probably not. I'm going to make content about FPV quads. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to pass up the opportunity to review the DJI FPV quad. I'm probably going to make a video about rates because that's kind of interesting that it uses Betaflight rates, and I think it would be helpful. But, like, given the choice between building an FPV drone and making a video about repairing the DJI FPV quad, obviously which way I'm going to go. Well, Coelho, I'm sure, like, all Brazilians say it right. Can I get some of that cachaca? Can I have a cachaca to drink? Get a cachaca? Thanks for another €5, Arthium Plastikin. Following up on that last question. Jose Romero, thank you for a $10 super chat. I just arrived. Any information about getting back to production of the DJI Air unit? No, sir. All we know is that DJI is handing off production of the Air unit to a third-party manufacturer. Presumably, it is Cadex, but no one's confirmed that. Francisco Maria, thank you for €27.99. Thanks for the attention you could put on my emails, Both gyro, PID loop time, and RPM are CPU intense, and rarely can you get the best of the two on an F4 flight controller. How much can you shrink the loop time without losing benefits? I'm not sure about that, Francesco. There are things you can do to reduce the loop time. But I think I don't hear a lot about doing that today. And I think the reason is that when you enable RPM filtering, you're so far over the line of what the F4 processor is capable of that it doesn't make sense to try and like disable the accelerometer. Like if you disable the accelerometer, you save a very small percentage of your cycles. There are other things you can do but you just basically, if you have an F4 processor and you want to run RPM filtering, you got to run it 4K PID loop. And at that point, you may as well run DShot 300. Here's the thing I would say. Do you really notice the difference between 8K and 4K, between DShot 600 and 300? I don't think you do. I think that's all in your head. I think if you can run at 8K, sure, do it. If you can run DShot 600, sure, do it. But I don't like feel bad when I have an F4 processor and I gotta go back to 4K. I just set it at 4K, I tune it, and I go fly, and everything's fine. FPV Lippy, thanks for a $5 super chat. I'm new to flying, but I want to race. What backyard basher is best for practice if I want multiple for backups? FPV Lippy, I'm going to give you a controversial answer here. If you want to practice racing and you want something durable and not too expensive, get the 533 Tiny Trainer. It's a 3-inch quadcopter, not a 5-inch, and that's why I feel like it's going to be a controversial response. Most people would want to race on a 5-inch. Especially as a beginner, you will not be faster on a 5-inch than on a 3-inch. Because you will never use all that extra power. I'm practicing for this Freedom Hills race next weekend. And I'm trying to be really realistic about my lap times. I even bought the Immersion RC lap timer. And do you know what the number one thing I've done to make me faster is? It's a throttle limit. I'm running an 80% throttle limit. I took it down to 90%. And I was still kind of blowing out my turns and feeling imprecise in corners. I took it down to 85. I'm at 80% and I might go lower. My lap times just get faster. You don't need all that power. What you need is a controllable quad that can let you focus on getting good lines. Go look at the top pilots. They're fast, but their lines are good. And that's the number one thing you got to work on. The Tiny Trainer is super durable as long as you don't use that stupid Beta FPV F405 AIO toothpick. Beta FPV. I love you, Beta FPV, but I hate you at the same time. God, this is such a good product. If it didn't blow up. This is the 12 amp version. I don't think I had the 12 amp version. I think I had the 20 amp version, but it's such a good product. Where's the 20 amp version? It's so nice to work with. They've even got the V4, which has built-in plugs for DJI and for the... It's so good. And then I made a post about my OSD dying. And like a ton of people in the comments were like, yep, I've gone through 3 of them. Yep, I've gone through. And I'm like, oh. So which one should you get? Well, I can't vouch for it. But the one I'm going to try next is... Stop. What are we doing? Is it this one? The F7. Well, I gotta look at. Hang on, I gotta look at my email. I ordered it, so I'm gonna just tell you what it is. Hang on. Yeah, it's this one. It's the Flywoo Goku. Ooh, it's in stock right now. Well, if you're gonna order it, let me give you an affiliate link. I haven't put this in a build yet. I can't vouch for it. But somebody in the comments suggested it. I was like, okay, let's give it a go. Somebody in the comments said, I've blown up 3 of those beta flight, or the beta FPV ones. Now I'm using this one. I was like, all right, fine. So I'm going to be giving this a go and seeing if it's more durable. The Tiny Trainer uses this style of toothpick flight controller. So you may want to pick this one instead of the beta FPV, or maybe not. I like I said, I can't vouch for it, but somebody in the comments vouched for it. So anyway, I wanted an iFlight Beast F7, Andreas Dalsa. I couldn't find an iFlight Beast in stock. That was my first pick because the iFlight Beast is rated for like 50 amps. So surely it can handle this little 3-inch quad. So we're going to try the Flywoo Goku and see. Does the Tiny Trainer hold a 16 by 16, Mr. Huggy? I thought it was sized specifically for the toothpick style controller. I don't know about that. I couldn't speak to the 16 by 16. So FPV Lippy, my suggestion is the 533 Tiny Trainer. It's durable as long as your flight controller doesn't blow up. Nah. It's fun to fly, and it will teach you good habits as a racing pilot. The Tiny Trainer kit has 16mm mounting holes. License drive. Thank you for pointing that out. Scott Walker says, nope, the Flywoo Goku are fire, literally. Not the cool hip way. Actual fire. Have fun. I mean, you just got to try these things out. It's possible that the Beta FPV is the best of these toothpick boards. But I'm going to go with something with a higher amp rating and cross my fingers. That's my goal. The Beta FPV is rated for 20 amps. I'm going to go up to this 40 amp Goku and try it. And if it blows up, I'm going to get the iFlight. I got to believe that the iFlight Beast can handle it. That thing is made for 5-inch quads. I got to believe it's going to cut it. Fingers crossed. There is an H7 and an F7 version of the Beast, Abraham. I was going to get the F7. Edward Ashley, thanks for a $10 super chat. I'm flying all analog and I'm using the SkyZone Cobra X goggles with the DJI goggles with an analog adapter. Be an improvement. Is it worth the $600? Well, I mean, yeah, Edward, that's like saying I'm watching standard definition television from the 80s and I'm thinking about getting a Blu-ray player. Will it be an improvement? Yeah. I mean, DJI is 720p resolution at 144 hertz. It's a big improvement. If you mean, is it an improvement in terms of the analog performance? That's harder to say. The DJI screen is bigger. A lot of people, and it's probably a higher quality, like LCD screen compared to the Cobra. I think if you're purely going analog, then don't spend $600 on the DJI. You would spend $500 on like a SkyZone or a Fat Shark. If you're thinking about switching to DJI, though, then yeah, you're going to buy the DJI goggles. Keep your Cobras if you like. Fatboy F7 says they have the iFlights in stock. Oh, well, I should probably order some. What about the TBS Pod Racer, says RC Ritter. The TBS Pod Racer, it's a toothpick flight controller and ESC from TBS. The pro is that it has solder points for a Crossfire or Tracer receiver and a Nano VTX, a unified Nano VTX. So it's going to make a really compact build with all that stuff directly soldered to it. The con is it's really, like, it only has 2 UARTs. Basically, that's all it can do. And it's like $70. And if you compare it to something like the iFlight Beast F7, which is a similar price, it seems like you're getting a lot more value with the iFlight Beast. However, if what you definitely want is the ability to hard mount a crossfire receiver and a unified nano VTX, then the Pod Racer makes sense. I don't think the Pod Racer makes a lot of sense except for that thing, because I think it's an F4, not an F7. It only has 2 UARTs. I think the amp rating is lower. You can't always find the beast in stock, but there you go. Is it reasonable to assume that a 6S capable stack will last longer if run on 4S? Asks Loizos Nicolau. Yeah, I think so. If you have 6S, if the FETs are rated for 6S voltage and you're only running them at 4S, then you're not as close to the edge and the voltage spikes will be smaller and less likely to blow things. Scott R.C. Roscoe Gillen, thanks for a $5 super chat. We have so many super chats. I apologize that I haven't been taking as many chats out of the regular YouTube chat, but there are so many super chats. I'm just trying to catch up on them. Scott Gillen, what do you think about the Hi-Fionic F7 and a 60 amp ESC? I got it for $65. Is it worth it? I mean, you already bought it. It's so funny to me when people say, hey, I just bought this thing. What do you think of it? It's like, well, I mean, it's yours now, so enjoy. Because sometimes they say, oh, I just bought this. I just bought the Eachine EV100 goggles. What do you think of them? I'm like, oh, I think no one should buy them. I think they're terrible. But I don't want to say that because like I don't want to I mean, it's yours now. Maybe you're enjoying it. The Hi-Fionic F7. I don't know a lot about it. Let's take a look at it real quick. Is this another toothpick? Yeah, it's another toothpick. The big question on these toothpicks is always durability. Does it blow up when you try to use it? We can't know until we get experience. The next thing I look at are the pads that are broken out. How many UARTs are there? Here's 1 full UART. Here's 2 full UARTs. Here's 3 full UARTs. I like that. Here's 4 UARTs. I'm very pleased. Excuse me, hang on. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I'm happy about that. Oh, here's another UART. I'm thrilled with the number of UARTs. That's nice. It's going to be very extendable. RSSI and VN. Yeah. The motor pads look like they're probably a little easier to solder to than on some of the others. They seem like they might be a little bigger. It's hard to judge from the size, but since they're edge launch, you're probably going to have a little bit easier time soldering to them. Let's see, any other features? 6 full UARTs. That's pretty impressive for something this small. 45 amp, they say. BLHeli S, not a deal breaker. BLHeli 32 would, of course, be nice. Why does it say 25 amps here and 45 amps here? Oops. I think it's, for $60, I think it's probably worth looking at. Some of the more reputable ones are closer to 70. 75. I'd be happier if it was BLHeli 32, but not a lot of those are out there. True Gent, thanks for a $5 super chat. Pao Nan, thank you for 5,000. Huh. I don't recognize this currency. Won, Korean won. That's a new one for me. I think that's the first time anyone's donated won. Thank you, Pao Nan. For your White Claw from Seoul, South Korea. I'm not proud, but I am drinking it. Evan Boucher, thank you for a $5 super chat. I've built your Xylo quad. I'm looking for replacement motors. The 4S motors are not in stock. Would the Zing camos work? Yeah, 100%, Evan. In fact, Evan, if there's one part on that build I would upgrade, it would be the motors. The motors are 2206 in size and a little underpowered. That's good for somebody just starting out, but if there was one thing I would upgrade on that, it's the motors. Zing Camo 2207 or 2306 are a great choice. Emax Eco 2 2306, also a great choice. Nishant Pinto, thank you for 200 rupees. How reliable are Mamba ESC, specifically the F50 Pro? Diatone Mamba flight controllers and ESCs are usually pretty good. I heard some complaints about the Diatone budget line, which is like super inexpensive. In general, they're pretty reliable. Blunty talks about that Diatone is pretty much all he flies. Thank you, Joseph Patanaude, for a $10 super chat. There should be no continuity between ground pads and VBAT pads on my flight controller. Yeah, correct. Smoke stopper went off, and I started checking things. No visible shorts. I noticed continuity between ground and VBAT plus. Make sure that you're not just having the capacitor blink at you. If the capacitor, if it beeps briefly and then stops, that's just the capacitor. I do see that the stream stuttered, Archimedes. I'm not sure. Everything looks good on my end. I'm not showing any dropped frames. It seems like it resolved itself. We'll see what happened. Nothing's going on my end, though. Let me give it a second to recover. That's what I get for bad-mouthing Diatone. Yeah, it looks like it was just a brief stutter. Hopefully it's resolved itself. What does this do? Are we good? Is the stream happy now? Okay, let's pick back up. Joseph, if there's continuity between ground and VBAT plus, that could be a problem. It could just be the capacitor causing it to beep. If it continually beeps, though, then yeah, you have a problem. You should not plug it in. That's for sure. Daniel Carroll, thanks for a $2 super chat. Red or blue? Loctite? I don't know what you're asking, Daniel Carroll. And Derek Dye, thank you for a $10 super chat. We're almost caught up. I'm a beginner and I'm trying to fly a 5-inch with a high weight to flight time ratio. Any part suggestions? Derek, here's what I would say. People getting into FPV are always super concerned about flight time, and I don't want to disrespect your priorities. At the same time, I don't think you should care very much about flight time. It's like if you said, here's the analogy. I think I'm going to buy a sports car. Guys, I'm looking at the Mustang GT 500. Makes 700 horsepower, supercharged engine, track-ready suspension, intercoolers for all of the axles and diffs and transmissions, and top speed of 197 miles an hour. I don't know if that's accurate. Now, here's a question I got, though. Before I buy the Mustang GT 500, what's the mileage? What do you mean it only gets 11 miles to the gallon? I'm not buying that. Like you're buying a high performance aircraft. When you're buying a freestyle quad, the focus should be on many things. Flight time is not one of them. If you could get 3 to 5 minutes, which is what you'll typically get off of a typical 5-inch freestyle quad, trust me, that's plenty. If you are bored at the end of a 3-minute freestyle flight, you were not flying hard enough, is an argument you could make. So but here's the other thing. Just buy more batteries. You don't have to fly for 7 minutes at a time. You can fly for 3.5 minutes. And then you could put another battery on, take a breather, and fly for 3.5 more minutes. So if your focus is on flight time because you want to cruise, that's fine. Oh, my GoPro's decided to turn itself off. Okay, fine. If you want to cruise, then you're not buying a 5-inch freestyle quad, and that's fine too. But if what you want is a freestyle or a racing drone, don't think too much about flight time. That's not the priority. The way to get more flight time is to reduce weight or go to larger props. 5 inch is actually the worst place to be for flight time in some ways, because you go down to a 4-inch and you can make the weight much, much lighter. You go up to a 6 or 7-inch and you get more efficiency from the larger props. In some ways, 5 inches is you get performance out of 5-inch, but not flight time. So I would say you should be trying to find something in the range of 600 grams or maybe a little less. Oh, my allergies are getting me today, guys. I'm sorry about that. It's a little annoying. If you really want to cruise, get a 7-inch or get a 4-inch. For a beginner who wants long flight times, I would steer you towards a lightweight 4-inch, like the Flywoo Explorer. It's not going to freestyle great, but that's not where your priority is, and you're going to easily get 8 or 10 minutes of cruising on a typical battery. That's what I would say. MJ Crater, thank you for a $5 super chat. Any news on DJI V2 goggle problems or a firmware release? No news. Nothing. Jonas, MH84, thanks for 85 Norwegian kroner. What 5-inch air unit frame would you choose for your next build? Air unit? I would choose Vista. Gosh darn it. I've redone my desk. I don't have any of my freaking... I can't blow my nose because I've cleaned my desk. Never clean your desk, kids. I would put a Vista, not an air unit. If you really want an air unit, the QAVS Johnny edition could be a good choice. Gepard C Mark IV could be a good choice. Diatone Roma. The Roma is already not the most durable. Then you're going to put additional weight on it. I don't know about that. Scott Gillen purchased the 60 amp version. I see. Tiago Bento, thanks for a $5 super chat. Is there a new JB Luminaire frame coming out soon? Yes, there is. It'll be out in about a month. Evan Boucher, thanks for a $5 super chat. I followed your guide on setting up LQ in the DJI goggles. It always shows 99 no matter what. What do you think the issue could be? I think the issue is that your Crossfire is amazing. Well, if it shows 99 no matter what, it means you're staying in mode 2. You're not flying far enough away to drop down from mode 2 to mode 1, or you're staying above 100% LQ on mode 1. If you fly far enough away, it will go down. I don't think there's anything wrong, Evan. I just think it's got great range. That's why you bought Crossfire. Ben 1234545, thank you for €5. Do you know if I can connect the Caddx Nebula Pro Vista kit to the new DJI FPV controller? You cannot. You cannot. Whole V in the YouTube chat says my Crossfire only shows 49 RSSI. Whole V, that means you've set the aux channel RSSI up incorrectly. The aux channel defaults to 50% and or middle position, and that's why it reads 49. Tyler Harris wants to know how to build racing flags. Tyler, I got to tell you, there are lots of people who DIY race gates. I don't know anybody who builds their own flags. Now the chat will put somebody who builds flags. The problem with flags is that the pole, especially for those like 40-foot flags, The pole is there's really nothing you could just like buy off the shelf that would build that pole. Again, someone will mention in the chat a case where someone's done that. But gracious, why at the live stream? It's because I'm talking. And talking like activates my sinuses. I don't know. Halfway through the live stream, I'm fine all day. Tech Time wants to know why his Crossfire doesn't give him the option to change from 868 to 915. Because at some point in the past, Tech Time, your module was set to a region. And once your module is set to a region, it locks itself out. You can reset the module. You can reset the module by using these instructions. The exact method depends on which module you've got. But this is how you reset it, and that's what you need to do. Beantime says he's used PVC for flags. There you go. There you go. I mean, I knew someone had done it. It's just so long. I don't. And floppy, and heavy. The other thing about flags is that the stand, the official stand you get, has like a ball bearing rotating pivot that lets the flag move around. Archimedes says TBS says you should buy PVC tubes in the local hardware store. Well, I'll be damned. I'm really surprised. Like, I've built stuff out of PVC before. I really would think PVC would be too heavy and not rigid enough. No, that's silly. I'm sorry. That seems really silly to me. I mean, again, prove me wrong. I've built two high gates out of PVC, and if you don't guy them out, they practically fall over to the ground. I don't see how PVC could have the right combination of rigidity and lightweight compared to the tapered metal, what is it? Poles that come with them. I don't buy it. I mean, I just am really skeptical. Maybe when it's under tension from the fabric. I don't know, man. The thing is, how much is a multi-GB flagpole? The multi-GB flagpole is $25. It's $25. Okay. For a single pole. Fiberglass. Stiff, lightweight. What's the length? I think it's 40 feet. I'm not 100% sure about that. Cycling Mikey says, please take a minute to blow your nose. It doesn't matter, Cycling Mikey. It's just going to keep happening. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about it. A PVC pole. Oh, PVC. Come on, Home Depot. Come through for me. What are you doing? All right, here we go. 1 inch by 24 inches, no. 1 inch by 10 foot. $5. So, $25 for the official flagpole. Is it 40 feet? What's the height of the flags, guys? What's the height of the flags? Is it 40 feet? $5 meters, says Ray Edward. 5-meter tall pole. Just to double check this. 16 foot. Oh, that's not as bad. So it is cheaper. It's a lot cheaper. Okay, I was just checking. So basically it's like $7 to do PVC. I'm really skeptical that it would have the right combination of stiffness and whatnot, but I guess it's possible. All right, I guess you could do it with PVC, and it would be cheaper. Now we've proven it. We've proven it. It's not 40 feet. I don't know why I thought it was 40 feet. I thought I heard somebody say it was 40 feet. I guess I guess it's not 40. It's not 40 feet. Yeah, 15 feet. I mean, I have them out in my yard. All right. Not good at estimating. No, they're 5 meters. The ones I have are 40 feet. Yeah. What do you mean? What do you put on it for visibility? They're not 40 feet. I was wrong about that. Derek Dye says, I love to take my FPV for long distance hiking or mountain climbing, so I'd really like to find a setup with the lowest weight possible that lasts 20 to 30 minutes. Derek Dye, a 4-inch long range on a lithium-ion battery is going to get you 20, 25 minutes of flying and not be too heavy. You want like a 3,000 milliamp hour 4S battery. True Gent says, I'm looking at, thank you for $5 super chat, True Gent. I'm looking at getting the Babyhawk 2 HD for use with the V2 goggles. Is there any other bind and fly that's equivalent to that size for freestyle? The Babyhawk 2 HD would not be an ideal choice for freestyle, just because those small quads aren't usually what people pick first for freestyle. What is the size of the prop on the Babyhawk 2 HD? It's a 3.5 inch. That's actually not bad. If it's 3.5, is it 3.5? I think it is. Yeah, I take it back. 3.5 inch is a fair. That's a fair choice for getting into light freestyle. 3 inch you can freestyle. I thought it was smaller than that. What is equivalent? I mean, there's not a lot of 3.5 inch quads out there. So you're going to be looking either at a 4 inch or a 3 inch. What's a good 3 inch that can do, like, the Transtech Beetle is a really good 3 inch freestyle quad. Here's the thing though. The Emax Babyhawk 2 is in stock right now because it just came out. Is it in stock? Back ordered. Never mind. Transtech Beetle would be another one I would look at. PVC race gates, obviously LCV FPV. We're talking about flags. I just don't know how a PVC flagpole could have the rigidity you need. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the way the fabric bends it. It has more rigid. King of Losing, thank you for $5 Canadian. I'm having trouble with smart audio on the Beta FPV MO2 VTX. I can change channel, but on Raceband, I'm stuck on channel 4. King of Losing, you need to unlock the Beta FPV VTX. I think you do that by holding down the button when you power on. I have news for you. It may also be locked into pit mode or 25 milliwatts. So you may also not be getting full range. When I first flew a quad with that Beta FPV MO2 VTX on it, I could not figure out why my range was so bad, and I actually thought the VTX was broken. And then I unlocked it, and I was like, oh, that was the problem. So Beta FPV MO2 VTX unlocked. Let's see if we can find instructions real quick here. How do we unlock it? How do I unlock it? Double click the button. Where's Beta FPV's page about it? It's... No, cannot find. Is there a manual? No. All right, screw you. How to activate and exit pit mode. Press the button twice to activate pit mode. It doesn't indicate that any channels are locked out. Maybe your VTX table is messed up. The other thing you can do is you can disable smart audio in the ports tab and then try to use the button to change channels and see if that works. That'll rule out your VTX table. It doesn't seem like it has a lock or unlock. It just has pit mode. Hold for 45 seconds for full power, RC Ritter. It says to take it out of pit mode, you double-click the button after power up. Michael Hill suggests Allegra gel caps for allergies. I have medicine I take, but the problem is I don't take it every day, and usually I'm fine, and then I start a live stream and I have a problem. So maybe I should always take allergy medicine on Sundays. Fumano Ciano says, thank you for a $10 super chat. I flashed the H7 Beast with the JESC. Motors 1 and 4 won't spin with bidirectional D-shot reversed. 2 and 3 are fine. No, Fumano Ciano, don't use bidirectional D-shot reversed. I don't think you use bidirectional reversed. Don't select bidirectional. Don't select bidirectional in the ESC firmware, Fumano Ciano. No. In JESC or BL Heli, bidirectional puts the ESC into 3D mode. That's why the motors won't spin. They think you're flying 3D mode like Zoe FPV. You simply want normal or reverse direction. You enable bidirectional RPM, bidirectional D-shot in beta flight. You do not enable it in the ESC. So, Fumano Ciano, put those motors in either normal or reversed, but not bidirectional reversed. Make sense? Kimo Lufdal, thank you for 200 Swedish kroner. I just want to thank you for all the support you've been giving me. Thank you very much. Thank you for the donation. Bad for Life says you can't even use JESC on that board. You need Jazz Maverick. I mean, he says he flashed it. Uh-oh. One-half-inch steel conduit for flagpole. I mean, I believe that, Corey, man. But then, isn't it going to be super heavy? And steel conduit's going to be more expensive than PVC. Skylar Bird 45 says, I got your Get FPV bundle, and when I plugged it in, the flight controller had 2 red lights and was not blinking. And the video transmitter was not solid green. What do I do? It sounds like the flight controller is not powered up. And is the video transmitter lit up at all? Would be the question I would ask. Skylar Bird, I think you should email me and we can talk it over. Or of course, you can email Get FPV support. They'll help you determine if you have a bad flight controller. Maybe it was DOA or maybe it's not powered up correctly. I'll be happy to walk you through it. It'll take me a little bit longer than Get FPV support because I'm only one guy and they're more than one guy. Paul F thinks there's something in my room that messes with my allergies. No, because I'm in this room all day, every day. And I don't have this problem. It's just when I start live. Maybe it's the White Claw. By the way, the White Claw is empty. No, rebar is going to be even heavier. Alrighty. Well, guys, we are coming to the end of the stream. No, you never want to enable bidirectional in the ESC firmware. That's for 3D mode. All right, guys, we are coming to the end of the stream. Aaron Ciotti is going to be streaming at 3 p.m. And I think I am going to wrap up the stream and go blow my nose and have some allergy medicine. So let me give you one more look at my amazing. The camera turned off. What's wrong with you, GoPro? Why would you turn off? Is it plugged in? Maybe it's not plugged in. It may not be plugged in. That could explain it. Okay, that's my bad. One more look at my amazing desk. Apparently not. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. Ghost Branch is going to be playing some Among Us on his stream. Ciotti is going to be doing FPV cycle glide repairs on his stream. Yeah, when I'm out of White Claw, the stream is over. That's the way. That's how we do it. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I will see you tomorrow. A reminder, no streams next weekend because I'm going to the race at Freedom Hills, or at Freedom Hills Campground. Yeah, that's what it's called. So no stream next weekend. Keep an eye out for it. Skylar Bird, my email's joshuabardwell@gmail. All right, guys. That's going to do it for this stream, though. Thank you so much for coming out. I'll see you tomorrow, and I'm going to go blow my nose. Have a good afternoon, everybody.